I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
Donald Trump will be a very unhappy person if no one paid attention to him, they say. The story of Donald Trump began way before he was born. His father, Fred Trump, born of German immigrants, incorporated a company, E. Trump and Sons, that his mother had started before Fred was old enough to run it. Fred built one of New York's first self-service supermarket and sold it at a profit. He and his business partner used the proceeds to buy a subsidiary of a bankrupt real estate company. They flipped properties and made enough money to turn E. Trump and Sons into one of New York's biggest real estate companies. Fred passed his business acumen and ruthless streak to his second-born son, Donald.
Right. By the way, he is a chip off the old block. This is
my father, Fred.
Right, who has done a remarkable job.
Donald was a bully from a young age, bullying his siblings and classmates, and later,
She's shocked that I picked her.
No.
She's like in a state of shock.
I'm not thinking, Mr.
That's
President.
okay. I know you're not thinking. You never do.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
One day, he threw an eraser at his teacher, and his father acted by transferring him to a military school, a tough competitive environment where, surprisingly, Donald thrived.
He became a leader of one of the student groups.
There, he acquired the discipline he needed to thrive in business and politics in the years to come. In the yearbook, he was named the ladies' man. He joined Fordham University for 2 years before transferring to University of Pennsylvania School of Business. He joined his father's company where he helped turn around housing projects which were losing money. 3 years later, he became the president of the company and rebranded E. Trump and Sons to the Trump Organization. The ladies' man started going to Manhattan's elite nightclubs, usually with beautiful women on his arms. He wasn't just partying, he was marketing himself.
He's very attractive.
The most eligible bachelor in America. Please welcome Donald Trump.
There, he met his attorney Roy Cohn, who helped him solve a black discrimination lawsuit that no one believed he could win. It was alleged that the Trump Organization had refused to sell to blacks.
This is a picture of Donald and me in which he says, Roy is my greatest friend.
Trump learned one of the most important lessons: never admit to any wrongdoing.
I said that.
According to a book I've read.
Well, read another book.
Looking to escape his father's grip, Donald borrowed money from his father and set out to conquer Manhattan, New York, at a time that everyone was shying away due to high crime rates.
My father gave me a small loan of $1 million. I came into Manhattan, and I had to pay him back, and I had to pay him back with interest.
He spotted the Commodore, a big but obsolete hotel that was closing down. To buy and renovate the Commodore, he will need huge tax breaks from the city of New York. Roy Cohn will take care of that and anything or anyone that stood in Donald's way for 15 years.
He had this real charm, and then behind the scenes, he could threaten anybody. Or he would tell you, you should really watch yourself. 41
years without paying taxes was a deal of a century. The name above the door went to Trump's associates, the Hyatt Group. Trump wanted to develop real estate on Pennsylvania Railroad yards on the west side of New York.
From 72nd all the way down to 59th, we're going to have magnificent marinas, shopping, restaurants.
After pulling strings for weeks, he got the rights to develop the sites, but the community didn't like the idea and they were politically influential enough to block the idea. Trump met his first wife, Ivana, in Canada in 1976, and the two got married a few months later in April of 1977.
Donald is just a wonderful human being. He's giving and he's warm, and a lot of people, they look at him as a tough businessman, which he is. But Donald is, if you're good to him, he's good to you. If you're not good to him, you're dead, because sooner or later he outsmarts you somewhere.
Trump wanted to build a tower on Fifth Avenue, a site that was occupied by Tiffany & Co. So he kept calling until they were willing to sell to him. There, he built the Trump Tower.
The greatest skyline in the world, so this is a great addition to New York skyline.
The completion of the tallest concrete building.
He hired the first ever woman engineer to steer such a project.
He was like a mentor to me, almost like a big brother.
Trump characterized the construction of Trump Towers by a lot of rule breaking.
If you cheat, you're going to win. It's simple as that. And he did. He cheated a lot. He didn't follow the rules, and he went around things.
He had the cheapest demolition company, which employed illegal Polish immigrants who had no personal protective equipment. He did not inform them prior that the building had asbestos, which would be more expensive to remove. Cheap finishing in the building. He also claimed that the building had more floors than it actually had to sell the units at a higher price.
And anyone that knows condo sales or has ever tried to buy an apartment knows that the same apartment, a floor above, is more money.
Going into the 80s, Trump was building something, and it wasn't a skyscraper.
Billionaire developer Donald Trump has put his name on a New York City hotel, shopping center, and apartment buildings, as well as a casino in Atlantic City.
Always interesting, dynamic Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
He had transitioned from a real estate developer into a national celebrity frequenting talk shows.
Who would you call if you were in trouble?
Well, maybe I'll call you, Rana. You're such a nice woman and you look like you know
You know your way around, certainly, so maybe I'd give you a little buzz.
He still wanted to develop the West Side rail yards. He had been working hard behind the scenes to ensure Abe Hirschfield, a friend of his father who had the development rights then, didn't get the capital to finance it. Out of frustration, Abe sold the development rights to Donald. Mayor Ed Koch, however, stood in Donald's way. He didn't like the way Trump manipulated the government into giving him tax breaks.
I want to make it very clear, I'm very biased. I don't like him. Ed Koch has been a disaster as a mayor. You know it, I know it, everybody knows.
Trump decided to cope with frustration by buying a fleet of planes from a bankrupt airline and started his airline Trump Shuttle.
The Eastern Shuttle is no more. Tomorrow morning it will be the Trump Shuttle.
Anything he puts his hands on turns to gold.
You had other people wanting this very much, as we all know, and it was just really a nice victory. It was a very sweet victory.
He plowed the proceeds into his casinos in Atlantic City. At the beginning of the 90s, it was public that Trump was drowning in debt. How did this happen? Most of his casino acquisitions had been funded by debts, and the US economy was in recession. Therefore, Americans reduced their spending specifically on gambling.
I had a company, it was doing well. I had tremendous debt, like this country. And in 1990, the whole country, it just went very, very bad.
He had to sell his yacht, airline, and part of the Grand Hyatt to keep Trump Organization afloat. His casinos declared bankruptcy.
The headline was quite accurate. Welcome to the 90s, Donald. Because it was like he got whacked right in the face. It was amazing.
He sold the development rights of the West Side rail yards to businessmen from Hong Kong. His marriage, on the other hand, was collapsing as fast as his business, leading to a divorce in 1991. Trump then started dating Marla Mapples, whom he would marry later. In 1995, Trump's casinos went public on New York Stock Exchange, solving his cash flow problems. He went from negative $900 million to positive $700 million in 5 years. He started splashing money on popular beauty pageants at a 70-story building on 40 Wall Street that he renamed Trump Building. He also released a book titled The Art of the Comeback. Trump and Marla divorced in 1999, just 17 days before his father's death. At the funeral, he came accompanied by Melania, a model he had been dating for a year. Trump began focusing on the presidency.
People tend to be very vicious. They will screw you whenever they can. Isn't it terrible? Who thinks I should run for president?
He joined the Reform Party and went on vigorous campaigns and talk shows.
I'm absolutely serious about conceivably running for the office of president. And if I run and if I won, I think I'd be a really good president.
He won the nomination but later quit, citing that the party was self-destructing. In 2004, he was back on TV branding himself. He was the host of a TV show dubbed The Apprentice.
The new reality TV series The Apprentice brings together 20 ambitious contestants hoping to survive in New York's corporate jungle.
You're fired.
In 2008, Obama became president of the United States.
So help you God. So help me God. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Trump did not come from nowhere. He had been talking about the same things all along. China ripping off USA, illegal immigrants, among others. He had found a new opponent at a different age and time. Anger among the Americans had been bubbling up under the surface, and the Republicans were looking for a candidate who wasn't afraid of speaking out. In 2011, he questioned Obama's citizenship, and Obama was forced to produce his birth certificate. A few weeks later, Obama roasted Trump at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and Trump responded by withdrawing from the race.
Say what you will about Mr. Trump. He certainly would bring some change to the White House. Let's see what we've got up there.
Trump always wanted to be president, but he didn't have the support from a major party that he needed.
The world laughs at us. They won't be laughing if I'm president. If I decide to run, and that's a big decision for me.
Stars were aligning ahead of the 2016 presidential elections. He easily won the Republicans' hearts and the nominations.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.